Good afternoon, and could we have asked for a better setting this for the kickoff of the Mutual and Federal Premier Interschools rugby this season. 12 matches that will be brought to you, and what a lovely sight this is at the Paul Roos Gimnasium field called the Markotter Field, and they're up against Afrikaanse Hoër Seunskool, otherwise known as Affies. Well, glorious weather that we have here. There's a little bit of a breeze blowing, which will cool things down for the players. And well, the stadium pretty much packed as it is at the moment. Well, the Affies team, captained by Vic Meyer, the son of Heineke Meyer, the Springbok coach. And they have a team, well, 12 of their squad that come through from 2014. And they'll be very pleased about that. Paul Roos Gymnasium have 6 of their 2014 squad. And George Swart is certainly one of them, and he'll be captaining their team today. That have a lot of hard-running backs. Look out for Nico Leonard in particular, who played on the wing for them last year most of the time, and he finds himself at outside centre today. Affies, of course, they're called the Witmiller, and the school just across the road from Loftus Versfeld. And those colours look so familiar in so many ways, don't they? So Paul Roos, well, they'll be wearing jerseys that are reminiscent of the very first jerseys that were worn by the school. Originally, they were called Stellenbosch High School, Stellenbosch Boys High. They then became Victoria College, and then finally Paul Roos. So the jerseys they're wearing are a replica of the very first jerseys that were worn by the school when it was known as Victoria College. So it's a big day for the school, the Paul Roos Gymnasium School. They're celebrating their 150th anniversary. And that runs from March to March, because it was the 1st of March when the school essentially got going. Joey Salmons, well, what a big day for him too. He's finished his schooling stint at Rondebosch Boys Prep School, and this is in fact his very last rugby match that he will be refereeing before he moves into a new role in Western Cape education. So Affies Rwanda Swart then gets things underway. And all just a little bit messy there for Paul Roos. There was a knock-on from them. So it'll be a scrum opportunity here for Affies. And alongside me today then, a man who's graced these fields and played for Rondebosch Boys High School, Gareth Wright. Gareth, a really big day for Paul Roos, of course, but a big year for them too. And they certainly have a lot of good talent in their side, and you know a fair number of these players, but also Affies have that large number of players from last year's squad.
Yeah, absolutely, Gavin, and both these sides will be looking to search for high honours. These players all know that they're on television, and they'll be looking to stake a claim for Craven Week, which is taking place down here in Stellenbosch, coinciding with this 150-year anniversary from Paul Roos. So a lot at stake for both sets of players, and they'll like to get early points on the board, settle the nerves, because this is a massive contest for all 30 boys out there. And of course, the last time these two met, well, Affies were victorious 17 points to 10, and in 2012 it was the turn of Paul Roos. 8 apiece with 1 draw, so all to play for this afternoon.
Well, 2013 was a very good year for Affies. They went through that season unbeaten, and then last season they really struggled along with a very young side. As we know, Paul Roos are always up there. Very good, strong side. So Groenewald with a little change of direction there to Eddie Fouchier. Some big boys doing battle out there. But position coming the way at the moment of Affies, taken on by Edouard Libber. Out from De Swart, looking to ignite his backs. Well, that'll be a throw in then to Paul Roos, as they manage to get that ball up. I must say their strip does look quite interesting, doesn't it?
It looks like the Victorians who play as the Stellenbosch University second side. Well, a thumping tackle coming in midfield. Just touching on the conditions. Well, Affies have a rather strong southerly breeze at their back, and they'll be looking to make full use of it in this first half.
Well, Robert Pierre going to the back there with that throw in at the line out, taken up by Rolf Berger. And a little chip kick there, which was a little bit of a nothing kick, so Affies have an opportunity now with the position that they've got. Downfield from De Swart, decides to use the middle route, and as you said, Gareth, they've got the wind at their back. Paul Roos deciding, let's keep the ball in hand as we run into the wind. Sometimes a wise thing. Waiting for it is Tian Kutsia. And they found a little bit of space, but almost run out of space on the far side had Paul Roos.
Some nifty footwork on the far touchline by Nico Leonard. He really is a live wire. Damian Willemse created the mismatch. Leonard with the inside out, and then slight miscommunication with his left winger, Jason Maybach.
During the week in Cape Town at the Newlands Rugby Festival, which is held every year, the final match was played between your old alma mater against Paul Roos and Stellenbosch Boys High School, coming out victorious by 15-10. So I suppose there's a lot of pressure too on Paul Roos in your 150th year, high expectations, and you've got to be able to absorb that, play a natural game.
One area of concern was in the pack, and Coach Hein Crick of Paul Roos would have done all he possibly have to prepare his side for this clash against Affies.
Well, interesting. No decision to kick down to the touchline. Paul Roos happy to keep the ball in hand. Of course, they'll be a little bit more used to wind than will be the boys from Affies in Pretoria. Quickly through the hands from Willemse onto Sebastian Ace. Of course, Paul Roos have big Jason Maybach as well on the wing position. In fact, he could easily play lock too, but at this moment, Affies swarming downfield, out from Jack Hart onto big Ruben van Gerden. Well, it's a penalty then to Affies, in a very kickable position too. They've got the wind at their back, and the immediate call is that Ruan de Swart will kick at goal.
Well, Sebastian has been penalised for not rolling away, but Affies have nailed their colours to the mast early on with some big runners, particularly in the number 4 lock position of Ruben van Gerden. Takes it numerous tacklers to bring him down. And then we see Sebastian Ace not rolling away quick enough and being penalised by referee Joey Salmons. An opportunity now for Ruan de Swart to open the Affies account. He's an accomplished goal kicker, is de Swart, and he'll need to open the tally, but that's an absolute shocker.
Yeah, I just snapped around it, didn't he? Took his time, but not a great kick from the fly half.
And it's been incredibly tight over the years between these two schools, and you'd expect a fly half of de Swart's caliber to nail that relatively easy attempt.
Well, they've played 17 times. Each team has won on 8 occasions, and they've drawn 1 match. So that's how tight it's been since 1946. This time penalty to Paul Roos. Now it'll be interesting to see whether they decide to tap and go here, or if they do kick down the touchline. Obviously kicking into the wing makes things a little bit tough, but they've got to try and play for as much territory as they can. So it will be Damian Willemse with the kick.
Coming around the blind side was Libba, and some stellar defensive work by the hooker in Robert Mathieu, who's on his feet. He had all the rights to the ball, and he's won his side a penalty. A decent attacking opportunity now for Paul Roos.
And he can win his team a line out too with a good throw in here. Mathieu, strong catch there. And a little bit of space foul too. This is excellent running here from Jason Mayback. Rather Troy Payne. Well, it is Jason Mayback. So it's a penalty this time to Paul Roos, and they've got it pretty much in a similar position.
I saw Damian Willemse took it to the line, the show and go. Managed to get rid of two offside defenders, brought to ground, and then the Affies player being adjudicated to have come in from the side. And the guilty party, Ruben van Heerden. So Joshua Vermeulen, an opportunity now for Paul Roos to open their account. You'll need to start it on, as you look at your screen, the inside left pole, and bring it in from right to left.
Not a great kick either, but they're going to have that kick taken over again because there was an advancement from the Affies players. Now, when there's a penalty, all the opposition players need to do is stand dead still. Just a quick explanation there to Ruben van Heerden by Jay Salmons. And another chance now for Joshua Vermeulen.
Well, both sets of kickers have started badly. Second bout of the cherry for Joshua Vermeulen, a man who represented Western Province at the Academy Week last year. 10 meters closer, he could probably throw it over.
He's just got to glide it over. Don't try and smack it too hard. And this time he's got it over. So Paul Roos then on the board, courtesy of Joshua Vermeulen. And the first occasion that they've been in the 22 of Affies.
Well, the home crowd delighted with the start that their side has made. Now, can Affies regain the restart?
It's a very good kick in that from Ruan de Swart, fielded there by Louis Conradi. Time here for Paul Roos, but you can see that ball drifted in field. This is Henko Jordan. Massive up and under from him. And the kick chase was a little bit slow, so it's given Vermeulen an opportunity to try and open things up a little bit. Well, this is becoming a game, or has become a game of penalties, hasn't it? This time, Affies with the opportunity. A very long way out, though.
Marburg was just isolated on that left wing. Unfortunately for the home side, it's another penalty conceded, 5 in total.
That's not a good kick from Ruan de Swart. Just tried to banana it, and unfortunately he's kicked it into touch and goal. So there's an opportunity here for Paul Roos. They'll come back to that position, and they will have the scrum down.
And those elementary errors could prove costly in the final shake-up. Find your touch. Get your forward pack into the game with a driving maul. Instead he's kicked it dead. And he's handed Paul Roos a get out of jail card with a scrum.
There's some rather large gentlemen there that'll be packing down in this scrum. The ball to be put in by Tion Kutsia. It was initially a good scrum from Affies, but now Paul Roos looking full of running too, and then deciding to kick the ball maybe a little bit late. So there's the counter-attacking opportunity. Lots of work here for Paul Roos to do, but managing to get themselves into a position where they could extract themselves from their 22. And it's Tion Kutsia who does the kicking. But referee Joey Salmons has called for the scrum.
It's been a really scrappy start to this game. The catching and passing of both sides has left a lot to be desired. Nicolena did well in cleaning it up, but some poor option taking by the outside backs of Paul Roos in trying to exit out of their red zone. However, fortuitously, they've got the put into the scrum. And this wind is increasing in strength, so ball in hand has got to be the option in this first half for the home side.
Well, they've given away a penalty, a free kick. And Joe Salmon's got his arm up there and wasn't quite sure if it was a free kick that he'd given or a penalty. But that's illegal scrumming, so it'll be the tap and go then for Affies. It's good work on the ground there from Paul Roos. They might well have stolen it. And so they have. Difficult for Willemse and Joshua Vermeulen, the two kickers in the side, because you're not really getting the distance on those kicks into the wind.
I think Paul Roos will want to slow this down as much as they possibly can. As you see the turnover coming, Dean van Tonder prominent in pilfering the ball, and Paul Roos have got out of danger.
Well, Affies looking full of running. Back in field comes Eddie Forshia. And Jack Hart. And it's about finishing though. When you get down into the strike zone, you want to make sure you get points. They've had one opportunity with the penalty kick at goal, which didn't work. It might have been a forward pass, but well, yeah, there it is, picked up by Joey Salmons.
Well, it's Affies of old, subdue and penetrate. Look to bring your forwards around the bend. But the problem at the moment, they're not beating the fold of the Paul Roos defence that allows the Maroon machine to get into a position, get off the line, make a spot tackle. And that thwarts Affies' momentum. And hence the forward pass.
Well, you know, that's a long pass again. We've seen a couple of long passes here that haven't exactly gone into the breadbasket. So when on a windy day, you've got to maybe stand a little bit closer, make sure that those passes are as accurate as possible. Vermeulen, pretty big hoist. That's not a bad kick from him. Up to close to the Paul Roos 10-meter line.
And that's the advantage of him, of having a left and right foot combination in your back line in Vermeulen and Damian Willemse.
Carrying a big load on their shoulders, of course, as have so many other people who've previously played for Paul Roos. Of course, they've had the most Springboks ever by any school in South Africa, up to 51. The last one was Willie Leroux. One remembers others like Andries Bekker, Jean-André Creer, Francois Hougaard's another one. Besides those in the early days, including Paul Roos himself, the Springbok captain in 1906. Time here for Vermeulen to use that trusty left boot of his. Up and under from Henko Jordan. His right touch against the touchline. Jason Maybach it was that was brought down. So they've held on to the ball here, have Paul Roos, but there's another example, Gareth, where maybe the passes not going exactly where they should. Jason Mayberg looked like he'd found a little bit of space, and then he was really lined up by some of the Affies players. He has a penalty and maybe even a bit more. Let's hear what the ref's got to say.
That looks like cynical play from the captain, Vic Meyer. Coming in from a side. Deliberate hand in the way. He could find himself lucky just getting away with a lecture.
Well, that's right up against the touchline, so not easy for Paul Roos, but the main important thing is to make sure you get it out, so they've got to throw in at the line out.
Blood replacement, Wynand coming on for Schalk Erasmus.
But it's Robert Pierre with a throw in. So far the lineouts have gone pretty well for Paul Roos. Again, a good solid catch there. Radi very much part of the mix for Paul Roos, along with the captain, Ewa Swart. Quick delivery from Tian Kutsia for Wynand. That's kicked into space. There's no one tracking back there for Affies. Bekker, the fullback, was positioned in the middle of the field, so it's clever play from the Paul Roos fullback.
Intelligent option by the home side there. Set it up in midfield and then plugged the blind side. The chip and chase came in. Unfortunately, the bounce not favouring the left winger, Jason Mayberg.
Well, pretty much a vital line out that, with Affies securing that. And a quick dart from Jack Hart. Oh, certainly the Affies forwards are performing a vital role. Their backs haven't quite got things right. Long kick downfield from Ruan de Swart. Now this is for Wynand.
Well, given they need to now turn this territory into points to Affies, they've spent the majority of this match in Paul Roos's half and have got no points to show for their effort whatsoever. And the longer this draws on in the first half, the more they'll be concerned with the coaching staff of Affies. Ruben van Heeren, he's been the talisman at line-out time, and you can expect it again. He moves incredibly well. And a real standout come line-out time for Die Wit-Bulle.
Well, there'll be a few people watching this game too. Fourie Du Preez, Wynand, Olivier, Springboks, Pierre, Spies. They all went to the school. In fact, Pierre Spies was also a choir boy at Affies school. Well, that's a great ball that for Paul Roos. No good for Affies. Throw right over the back. Willemse. Jack Hart with the initial knock on and then the kick down the field. I think that some of the kicking from the two teams has been a little bit aimless at times. Willemse caught in possession. And it's been turned over. This is great attacking opportunity here for Affies. Can they spread it wide? They've got men standing wide. Held up initially there by Vic Meyer. And then Big Eddie Fischer carrying it forward. He hasn't brought down, so just keeps progressing. Hart. And the one thing that Affies are missing is the finishing touches, really, of some enterprising moves from them. De Swart, little in and out from the fly half. Lovely little pop from him. And the continuity was needed, and it was found. Try time then for Affies.
Well, Affies have broken their drought through Henko Jordan, but it was some good play initially. The turnover coming in. Damien Willemse losing it in contact, and then The ball sent through numerous phases, some fleet-footed by Wynand Swart. Libba set it up, and then Henko Jordan found himself in the scrum-off position, spiraled his way through the defender, and he's got over for Affies' first try of the afternoon.
So Wynand Swart wants to put that first kick of his, pack it away in the draw, make sure this one goes straight. No, that's not going to swing in. It's perhaps just allowing a little bit from right to left.
A good carriage and contact initially from De Swart, and then Libba. Some strong leg drive from Henko Jordan to finish off the movement, and Affies have got in for the first try this afternoon.
Well, it's such a good skill to spiral yourself when you are making contact. Sometimes quite difficult to stop the man. So the first up try then belonging to Affies. The red, yellow, green is what they called the Witbiller, with the blow biller just across the road. That's straight into the sun, so well taken. Over the top from Jack Hart. That's a very good kick, that, from the scrum half. Found some space, and Vermeulen so again it's the kick from Willemse, and again it's down the middle of the field, so lots of time here for Henko Jordan. And he replies with some interest, but of course bearing in mind that he's got the wind at his back. Gareth, you said a little bit earlier, Paul Roos, maybe better just carry that ball a little bit more. They've got big Troy Payne on the right wing.
Okay, we've got to bring your runners into play. Set the energy of Affies, keep ball in hand, don't kick it away.
Well, the lineouts have worked pretty well up to now for Paul Roos, but Affies have turned over a couple of balls every time they find themselves in the strike zone. Just don't seem to be able to finish things off outside of the last try that they scored. So Hart now posted on to Philip Carouse. Well, that's a pretty good kick, that, from Hart. In fact, a perfect kick, because gets his team into a really solid position, even although they don't have the throw in at the line out.
And a good option by the scrum off. He's just seen that Paul Roos have blundered their previous line out. Plug in the blind side, using the wind to a nicety and getting the roll right over the touchline. An opportunity now for Affies to compete at line out time, close to the Paul Roos line.
So we've got the referee on board now too. His communication was a little bit faulty early on, but he's back in tow. So very important throw in this for Robert Mathieu. Perfect throw in then to your Swart.
5 out, 5.
And Paul Roos making
own man.
some very, very important meters. Vermeulen. He's had to do quite a lot of kicking as Joshua Vermeulen from the fullback position, but that's normally the case when you're playing into the wind. You've got a team that's really peppering you at the back. Schalk Erasmus hasn't had an enormous number of opportunities to throw in at the line out for Affies. Not in straight.
Scrum of lane staan. Okay.
Oh, frustration for the visitors, Affies. Another mistake at set phase. And this time the throw on the outside arm of Juan Basson.
There's a big tradition as well, Gareth, at Affies, when they are playing at home. They always play from south to north if they win the toss. And in the first half, and then the second half is downhill and with the sun. So they've worked that all out. Yeah, today the wind seems to be troubling them a little bit. They haven't really used it to great effect. They would have liked to have built up a more substantial lead. Willemse. It's hard work getting out of your own half of the field when you're playing into a stiff breeze. Of course, as we said earlier, kicking is not always the best option. In fact, I guess it's turnover possession that, but I guess if you really want to try and work out how to play into the wind, you've got to watch the Ike Tigers playing at the Green Mile, where that wind really pumps downhill.
Well, I'll call it the wind tunnel rather than the Green Mile. It's a tornado that pulls through there on the Ike Fields. And again, Paul Roos, the tactics right to keep ball in hand, but the decision making is poor by this time Tiaan Coetzee, the scrum off.
Well, I think, Gareth, too, it's the turnovers that will be concerning Paul Roos. You know, I've counted 3 or 4 turnovers already in this match, and they just haven't been made to pay as of yet. So hard to swat. Little dummy there with Fourie, and then a thumping tackle. Paul Roos making a big hit there was Damian Willemse, the fly half. So a little bit of space found. Now where's the support? There it comes. Oh, it wasn't a great offload from Rolf Burger.
Once it's over.
And carried up here by Joan Besson.
Tackler, tackler.
So again, Affies working really hard to get the possession back. Infield they come, courtesy of Ruben van Heerden. 2 very tall locks in the Affies side. Well, it's pretty much the same for Paul Roos. There's a first chance for Troy Payne. We haven't seen much of him at all. He's 1.95 meters, 108 kilograms on the right wing. And quite the biggest schoolboy rugby wing that I've ever seen.
Release and roll. Varnish over.
Seriously looking to try and get over that Varnish line there was Edouard Libber. And the change of direction now. Bringing in Henko Jordan, the try scorer. Can he get another one? A little step from him. And eventually it's a great tackle back there from Jason Mayberg. Desperate, Affies desperate to try and get some more points before half time. Besson making a couple of meters.
15.
And we've seen some real charges from Edouard Libber. Here he comes again. Just held up. So this is a time when everybody wants to try and score themselves. Affies have just got to be patient. They've got to try and make sure they get their passes right. Fourie, it pops out, but it went backwards. So that's a good recovery that from Affies.
Knock advantage over. Roll!
Another chance for them. Up close as Paul Roos' defense is being severely tested. Once again, is Edouard Libber is asked to take it up. This is great defense, this from Paul Roos. And the ball's been held up.
Well, some stoic defence by the home side. Tiaan Coetzee prominent, but Edouard Libber, well, he's been a thorn in this Paul Roos side by taking the ball through the phases in close quarter, but good work by Coetzee, managing to keep the Affies player held up off the ground. And given the 3 have a problem with the laws. In any other part of the field, it reverts to a turnover of possession. Here, because it's over the line, it goes back to the attacking side. So there's a hit coming in from Willemse. He has put in some thunderous tackles as the pivot of the home side. But Henko Jordan is proving a slippery customer from the back for the Vic Villa.
Well, he's doing the right thing in that he's getting in. He's got the wind at his back, so he can afford to get into the back line, create a nuisance.
And a nice blind side here for Jack Hart and Edwin Libber to pursue.
Well, that they're not going to do. They've decided to come in the other direction. And he has a chance here for Eddie Fisher. Once again, he's held up short. Will they spin it? Well, they're not going to do that. Have they got it over the line? Joey Solomon says yes, they have, and he was in a really good position to make that call.
Well, from close quarters, it's Ruben van Heerden who's muscled his way over for try number 2. Good leg drive, good body height, getting under the pillar post position, and Ruben van Heerden, the recipient of the 5-pointer. Good work by the lanky lock. Poor in the pillar position by Louis Conradi. Well, he's a tall man, Conradi. However,
so Eddie Fisher has taken over the goal-kicking duties from the centre position and converted the try. And spot on at half-time. So there we have it then. Confirmation then of the half-time score here. 2 tries for Afrikaanse Hoër Seunskool as they lead 12 points to 3 at the Markotter Stadium.